Organization is crucially important to Premiere. So we're going to start with a folder structure. And once you have things imported from your SD cards into the corresponding folders, then we are going to open Premiere and pull it into Premiere. Once things are in Premiere, you should not rename things outside of Premiere, and you should not move things outside of Premiere. So there's no need to rename things outside of Premiere anyway. So we're going to start from square one and come on in. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to show you here. I have my folder. I have my audio files, my exports, Premiere, and video. Some of you that are hopping into this project right now, let me see if I can make this bigger. Some of you that are just already worked on it in class and are going to reopen it, you can just go to your Premiere project and double click on your project and it will open, and then you can continue editing. But if you're starting from square one, I just want to make sure that you have all of your files in the corresponding folders. I'm actually working on my hard drive, but you can see that in my project folder, I have all my audio. Here's my audio file, export, Premiere, and then all of my video files are located in my video folder. Once you are here, once you have copied everything from your SD cards into the corresponding folders, then we're going to open up Premiere. So up here in the top right, I'm going to use the magnifying glass to type in Premiere. And then I'm going to open this icon that has the PR. And it's going to open Premiere. The most important thing is that you choose where to save your location. So what was happening in class is that a lot of people were saving it where the previous person had saved it. And I'm going to show you to make sure that we're not overwriting people's projects or anything like that. We're going to go back to save it. So let me wait for this to be open. I'm going to go to new project up here on the top left. And then I'm going to name my project Wilson Video. And then over here for project location, I'm actually going to choose my location. So choose location for me. It's here in my class example, Wilson Video Premiere folder. I'll press choose and create it. For you, it might be choose. You might have to go to the desktop, right? But you want to find your Premiere folder. So you'll go here, choose location, desktop, your project folder, your Premiere folder. And then once you get there, you're going to press create. Okay. Once you open Premiere Pro, let me see if I can kind of minimize this and extend this a little bit. Once you open Premiere, you will see 4 quadrants. I am located in the window workspaces editing workspace. You're going to have 4 quadrants. These are helpful to you. And let's import things and then I'll explain the quadrants to you. But here, you can either double click just in the empty space down below, but I like to go to File, Import, and I'm going to go to my project folder and have my audio folder, and I'm going to import my audio. I'm going to do the same thing, File, Import, and I'm going to go to my project folder and my video folder. And you don't have to select all your individual clips. You can actually just select the video folder and it will import all your videos. All right. So once things are imported, I can toggle this down. And if I double click on one of so in the lower left-hand quadrant, this quadrant that I'm currently in, these are all the raw files that came out of my camera and my recording devices. If I double click on them, I will see them in the top left-hand quadrant up here. This is where you're able to see those raw files. Once we drag something into the bottom right-hand quadrant, this is where we will be editing. And then the top right-hand quadrant is where we will see what we are editing. All right. It's also important to note that these icons that are purple, visuals and green audio means that is an audio visual clip. It's a video that you recorded. Down here, you have clips that only have green. This connotates that this is an audio file. This is only an audio file. So what we want to do is we want to find our video, our interview, because our interview is going to structure our video. So I'm just going to click around kind of until I find the clip that I want. And for me, it's this one. So this is where it gets a little tricky. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. And it takes a little bit of finesse to do this, but I believe that you can do it. You're going to select your interview video, and then you're going to scroll down, hold Command with your finger. So hold down Command as you select something else. So I'm holding Command and I'm going to click the second thing. Okay. Holding Command and I'm able to click it so that both of those files are selected. Now I'm letting go with both of my hands and they're both selected. And now I'm going to hold Control to right click and go to merge clips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this interview merged. And they give you certain options. You don't want to synchronize it by the beginning of the points or the end of the points or the time code. You want to synchronize it by the audio. So make sure that audio is clicked. And what that will do is it will match the physical waveforms. It'll match them so that it syncs your audio. And then you want to make sure this is selected. Remove audio from AV clip. And you're going to press OK. And it's taking a second to process. But what it's going to do is that it's going to take the audio from my lens hopper and replace the audio from my video. And it created a new video over here that will have the audio from my lens hopper. So I'm going to drag this interview merged onto the timeline. And you can tell if I zoom in with my plus key that my audio, I actually started recording on my camera before I recorded on my audio. So there's actually a gap, right? I'm going to minimize myself over here. And up here is what you're able to see on this timeline. You're able to see it in the top right quadrant. All right. Okay. When we dragged something onto the timeline, it created a sequence. And the sequence is what this thing over here in the bottom right is called. And that's where we're going to be editing. And the settings of the sequence match the settings that we used on our cameras. All right. Because we dragged a clip over and it just matched the settings of the clip that we dragged over. When that happened, it created a unique icon over here that looks really different. It's like, it just looks really different. That icon is the sequences, right? So for me, I like to go all the way up and minimize all of my videos. And then I like to create a new folder called a bin for my sequences. And then I'm going to drag that funny looking icon into my sequences folder. I think this is helpful just so it's easy for me to find things. I don't like to not know where things are. It helps me be quicker while I'm editing. All right. So if I double click on this, it opens in the bottom right-hand quadrant. Now what I want to do is I want to duplicate that sequence. All right. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click control click to duplicate it. And I'm going to call it draft 1. And if I double click on draft 1, it opens. So now I've got interview merged and draft 1. And I'm just going to select everything on draft 1, Command A, and delete it. So that now I have 2 sequences. Interview, which has my lens hopper audio synced to my video, and then draft 1, which has nothing on it. And the goal is to go through my interview and make cuts around sound bites that I want to keep. And then I'm going to copy those sound bites and paste them onto my draft. So over here, I'm going to listen and I'm going to press play.
Okay, so can you tell me your name and where we are?
My name is Kelly Moore, and we're at the Rock House.
Okay, and I'm going to zoom in so I can see that. There are 2 ways to do it. One, I can just use the shortcut Command K, and it puts a cut there. The other thing that I can do is I can use this razor tool and cut. And then once I'm done, I'm going to go back to the selection tool, select the soundbite that I want, copy it. You can right click, copy, and then come over here I'll move the soundbite over there and I'll just Command V, pastes. So now my soundbite that I want is
My
there.
name is Kelly Moore, and we're at the Rock House.
Great. I'm going to keep listening to my interview and do the same thing.
I'm not going to give an address.
No, I don't want to give it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sure. We were,
This sounds good. So she's going to tell us how old the house was. So again, I'm going to use the shortcut Command K. I'm going to just press the space bar until she's done.
we were told that the home was built in 1918.
Perfect. Command K. Okay. Then I'm going to kind of draw a little square with my mouse. Command C to cut. And then Command V to paste. All right. All right. And then I'm just going to keep going, right? So,
But I believe top of the roof for repair, discover builder, and it's a Craftsman farmhouse.
right. So maybe I'm going to come here and I'm going to Command K.
Sure. It's
I don't want that sure.
Sure.
So I'm going to start maybe here, Command K.
It's a Craftsman farmhouse. It was built from the rock that's indigenous to this soil.
Right. Okay, great. Once I get to the end, Command K, select it, copy it, Command C, come back to draft one, Command V. Okay. If you have a space in between your clips, you can just move them. Or if you want to, you can click in between and right click and ripple delete to move them together. And if you want to move things around, just select the clip and move it. And I like to zoom out a lot so that I can kind of move things around. It's also very helpful to have this snap in timeline selected. Okay. Step one, I guess it's like multiple steps, but the first goal is to go through and to just get the selections you want from your interview and lay them out on your timeline. Very similar to how you did an audition. That's it. Very similar to how you did an audition, right? Okay, once you have everything laid out on your timeline, then you can move to the next section, which is pulling in your B-roll. And this is, I'm going to use a slightly different technique, but over here in my video, I toggled down with my little arrow. I'm just going to kind of click around so that I can maybe find something and you can, so this top left-hand quadrant is showing me the videos in the bottom left-hand quadrant. And I want to find a video. If you want to, you can use the icon view so that I can see all my videos. So I'm going to start maybe with this one. And I'm just going to see the house to see maybe where it looks kind of interesting. Okay, maybe I want it right here. So when we pull B-roll down, I use a slightly different technique when I'm working on something really simple. And these are called in and out points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an I at the beginning of where I want my clip to start, and then an O at the end. All right. So let's say I like this. I'm like, you know,
When people,
you can hear me talking. But
yeah, those are stories that you really want to keep.
I wanted to say.
Okay. So maybe I wanted to start here. I'm going to put an I, play the clip until I'm done.
I'm not gonna, you don't have to say anything you don't want to. Just say.
Right. And then I'm going to put an O for out. And then I'm going to use this little one right here that says drag video only. And I'm going to click it and drag it onto the timeline. All right. So, and I'm going to drag it just on top. I don't want to drag it onto the video because it'll replace it. I just want to put it on top of the video. All right. And then I'm going to go to this one. So maybe this is like, you know, right? Like maybe maybe I'll start it here.
Hello.
Okay, so maybe that. And then I'm going to go to this drag video only and drag it onto the timeline. What happens when you do this is that it's not bringing the audio, which is fine for me. I have to take this step. You don't have to take this step. So that now when I play my video, it'll play up here and you'll be able to see what you're editing. So I'm in the bottom right-hand quadrant and I'm pressing the space bar.
My name is Kelly Moore, and we're at the Rock House. We were told that the home was built in 1918. It's a craftsman farmhouse. It was built.
Great. Okay. So that is the goal of what you're doing. Basically, I want you to go through, sync your footage with your better audio, and then take the B-roll and cover your audio. Cover your interview. So you don't need to cover all of it, but the goal is to cover cuts, because if you don't cover the cut, watch this. If you don't cover the cut, you're going to see what's called a jump cut. So we want to cover these little lines in our audio, in our interviews, because if you don't, you'll actually see the edit. Okay, so let's watch this, and I'm going to watch it big.
And we're at the Rock House. We were told.
Can you see that there was an edit there?
That the home was built in 1918. It's
there was another one, right? Okay, so
more, and we're at the Rock House.
Cut.
We were told that the home was built in 1918. It's
so you don't want to be able to see visually the cuts that you made in your interview. You want to use B-roll to cover those cuts so that we don't see what is called a jump cut. All right, that is the goal. All right, that is where I want you to get here for class on Monday. That's the goal. The big thing that you want to do when you leave your project is you want to make sure that you save it. So file save, hopefully it's saved in the correct place. If you want to make sure, then you could go to your project and make sure that there is a project that's saved there. And then you can see what time it was saved at to make sure it was consistent. So like this one was not the right time, because I actually am saving mine on my hard drive. So here, this one was saved at 2:25. All right. So that is where I want you to try to get to by class on Monday.